I want to thank you, you in particular, but certainly for CSD as a whole, because you invited us. We partner with you. We enjoy it. This whole organization has been a part of how we think about how the Vision Resource Center should unfold over time. Uh, so again, my name is Beth Kay. I'm the professional learning director in the Success Center at the Foundation for California Community Colleges. And I think in a moment you should see a slide deck. There we go. Fantastic. My colleague Carrie Smith is here working in the background. So Carrie and Alejandra Navarro, who are both on our team, will be able to answer any questions you have in the chat as we go. But we're also going to leave a lot of time at the end for comments, suggestions you want us to hear about, questions, concerns, anything at all that you'd like to discuss with us. So this presentation, we wanted to keep it very brief, is somewhere between 10 and 12 minutes. So I hope we can hold on to your attention for that length of time. Again, if you didn't hear me say this before, I want to thank you for inviting us. I want to thank 4CSD. And I also want to call out in particular, I presented here, well, at the spring conference, I think it's 4 years ago now. And at the time we were proposing this transition from the PLN to a learning management system. And the Vision Resource Center itself had not launched yet, but you all, in your roles as professional development coordinators on your campuses and through your districts, were instrumental in us identifying the things that the PLN didn't have, that you all needed to be able to do your jobs better and to be able to serve your colleges and districts better. So I want to say thank you for that. That was 4 years ago, and we've been on a full tilt since in startup mode. So Carrie, first slide, please. Thank you. So some of your colleges, I could name 3 or 4, participated with us as pilot sites. You were the first ones to go through the process of trying to integrate into this learning management system, sending your HR data feeds and figuring out with us what the training should look like, what your home pages could or should look like. And since then, we have integrated 76 colleges with 37 colleges integrating right now. So we have over 100,000 users. This is a big deal. You can find almost anyone in the system through this tool at this point. So it would just be an empty shell if we didn't have any content, right? So the Vision Resource Center has a couple of different types of content available to you. There are a total of 10,000 learning modules, which are just virtual courses. We use the word module for a lot of different reasons, but 105 of those were specifically designed for employees in the California Community College system. So a couple of examples are here below. Strategic enrollment management, which many colleges and districts need right now. There are, I think, 3. This might be the 4th module around strategic enrollment management. The statewide webinar series, Courageous Leadership, was transitioned into modules that then can be assigned out on your campuses. And these last 2 were, we were very excited to finally publish these. It took a long time to get these done. Lots of committees had to review and make sure they were on target. We worked with some pretty amazing subject matter experts to develop these, and they're the first 2 DEIA modules to launch, specifically DEIA modules. And then, as you heard Boole talk about this morning, there are 6 more on the way. So we're excited to do that. And many of you also know that there are just about 10,000 LinkedIn courses available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, as all our content is. The SANS courses are network security training. So if you're an integrated college, your district and college can access these trainings that were developed by our tech center here in the system. And we also have Skillsoft courses, which are primarily geared toward compliance. So your Title IX, your sexual harassment prevention training, those sorts of things. Lots of content. So the other really big component that we launched with, besides content, was these communities. The intent of the communities, there are a number of different goals for the communities, but the early intent when we first launched was to ensure that every single person in our system, all 100,000 plus employees in our system, would have access to moderated communities that shared information out from the central office, we say central office, but from the chancellor's office, right? As well as additions from people working in the field, right? People adding their thoughts, adding their comments, adding what they're testing and iterating on, right? So some of the 30 system-wide communities are listed here. And I want to do another shout out for you all. The professional development practitioners community is one of our most active, and we see that I am very excited that you've relaunched this one. So you went through the process of really thinking through, is it still structured the way we need it? Is it moderated at the level we need it? Are there more people we can get involved? And you guys relaunched, and I think that's, and it shows. So I can't wait to see Shannon talk about that a little later. But another one that's very exciting is the Supporting Undocumented Students. Very active group, very active group. And that is true. I see the note in the chat that the transition of your group from using a strict listserv into doing a lot of your collaboration within the tool in this community was really due to Leslie's foresight, Leslie Carr. So thank you, Leslie. You really saw the power of this tool for your work with the association. Very exciting. So other progress. This one's kind of a big one. The Chancellor's Office a number of years ago decided that they were going to try to streamline all the various communications that were coming out of the Chancellor's Office going into the field. There's still some work to do in this arena, but one thing that they decided to do since the advent of the Vision for Success is to create this one newsletter where many different divisions contribute to it. And it's called Vision in Action. If you're not getting this, we want to make sure you are seeing it. And the work that our team did with IEPI is to ensure that once a month, there is a version that is only about professional development. So everything we know about, everything the system knows about that's coming in the next month at least, is in this version. And so this monthly email, once a month, goes out to all Vision Resource Center users. And I think we're still negotiating this, but it looks like the other 3 weeks of the month, we may be sending out through the Vision Resource Center as well, even though they're not specifically targeting professional development. So that's to come. Okay, so I was ruthless with Carrie when she was putting together this slide deck to try to minimize all of the things that we've done in the last couple of years, all the progress. There's so much more I would love to share with you, but we have a very, very short amount of time. And now I'm going to sort of switch gears a little bit and talk about how we're hoping in the next number of years to optimize the Vision Resource Center usage. So Carrie, if you could go to the next slide. One thing I want to say before I start is, like everyone working on campuses, every time there's sort of a new initiative, whatever, we have to go through this process of startup, right? The kind of energy that it takes to start something new. And our team has been building and starting for the last 3 years. And as most of you know, building the plane as it's flying is a challenge. What's now happening is that we're coming out of that startup phase and into what we consider more steady growth. And that's due to the fact that we have almost all the colleges and districts integrated. But what we've recognized is that not all the districts and colleges are using their portals to the maximum degree that they could. And so the great advantage of having a single tool across every college and district is that you can all collaborate. You can all learn from each other. And Kelly Falcone, I should have named her a little bit earlier in this presentation. She was an early adopter. She was instrumental in helping us connect to you all and in making sure that we were designing with the colleges and district needs in mind. And one of the things that came out of that, so we worked with Kelly closely, but one of the things that came out of that is a desire to work with more of you more closely. And so we have what we call the ambassador program. And so this is Shannon, Jessica Martin from Contra Costa is an ambassador, and we have a few others who are in the process of becoming ambassadors with us. And the intent is that, they've really adopted the tool and grown with us and with the tool. And so they do a lot of work with you guys, their peers, to help you guys understand how you can use the tool better on your campuses and across your districts. So the other piece connected to this is we want to make sure you guys hear from us. We're begging, I guess. Please work with your IT departments to get the Vision Resource Center emails whitelisted for your district. We know this is not a permanent state of affairs. You have to do it over and over again. But the statewide communications that Celia Martinez spoke of earlier, the desire to sort of streamline communications and target communications to different groups, this will really help because a lot of those communications are intended to come through the Vision Resource Center. Okay, so we're going to continue to have LinkedIn content. We're going to continue to build content for the Chancellor's Office and by request. But we're also in discussions with Keenan Safe Colleges to figure out if we can, so many of your colleges and districts use Keenan Safe Colleges, but we want to load it once at the state level and make it available to all the colleges that use it so that you don't have to do that individually and keep them updated individually. So we're looking at that, and as a result, right, because that's really compliance training, we would be removing Skillsoft. So we're in discussions around that. It's not a given, but any comments, questions, concerns you have around that, please, drop it in the chat, ask at the end. Additionally, one sort of shift in this startup to steady growth phase that we're in is we really want to engage end users more in what we're choosing to develop, choosing to grow, the kind of trainings and support we're providing. And so we just decided to, in our content development process, to include feedback from end users before we publish. And we call these groups beta testers. So we'll be coming out with sort of the invitation soon, probably in the next couple of months, to participate as beta testers and let us know what you think of the content as it's being developed. We're also looking at increasing the number of curated playlists, because we know that 10,000 courses can be a little overwhelming. And even though the search mechanism in Cornerstone is very powerful, it can still be really overwhelming, right? To get in, when you type something in, to get 50 responses. So we're really looking at trying to align some of the work that Syria and her team are doing with the creation of targeted playlists. We're also really interested as PD coordinators at your campuses and districts, what you think would be good playlists that we could create for the whole system. Okay, so the events area has been growing quite rapidly. So most of you know that the calendar within the Vision Resource Center, as a user, you can see everything going on statewide and what's going on locally. But what we're doing is reaching out to more and more partners and associations to try to get them to put their statewide events into the calendar. And when it does that, when folks do that, it populates onto a public calendar as well. So anyone very easily, without logging in, can go see all the events that are happening statewide. So that when you're trying to schedule an event like this, you would know, does your audience have anything else going on during that time? And in a system as big as this, that has turned into a really big idea. And then the last thing we want to say is we've really been working closely with the Accessibility Center to make sure any of the accessibility issues that are internal to Cornerstone, that they stay aware of how we're working with Cornerstone, the Cornerstone leadership in particular, to address those issues. So no platform is perfect, but just in the last 6 months, we've had, I guess, 6 or 7 really big changes internally to the Cornerstone tool for accessibility reasons because of this advocacy. Okay, sorry. The last kind of area that I wanted to talk about, you heard Syria talk about report streamlining. We're going to be doing a lot over the course of the next year around the data that comes into the Vision Resource Center. So right now we're cleaning it up and ensuring that there are no ghost accounts in Cornerstone. So people who have left campuses, no longer having licenses. We are putting in a hierarchy, an additional hierarchy. We'll be doing this over the next few months, which puts all employees into sort of standard employee classification areas. So the ones that are reported in MIS, full-time faculty, part-time or adjunct faculty, classified staff, administrators, right? So in those groupings with 1 or 2 more, so that we can do some roll-up reporting to the chancellor's office. They ask very good questions. IEPI does as well, about, you know, who's accessing the professional development, who's using it. And when they say who, they really want to know by grouping. They're not interested in what individual people are doing, and nor would we be able to provide that kind of information to them. But they're very interested to see where they need to invest more. So we're working on our data feeds to make sure we'll be able to answer those kinds of questions better for them. We'll also be able to report sort of what's going on regionally across the state. If you've been following what's going on out of the governor's office, lots of interest in how work is happening regionally across California. This is nothing new to the California Community College system, but it is to our reporting mechanisms. And then the last piece, as Cedia mentioned earlier today, we'll be looking at streamlining and targeting communications by these classification groups and sort of even a deeper level, so that not everybody is getting everything. But you get to hear from the system office about the things that really matter to you. And I think that, okay, now this, I think, is the last slide. I want to go back to the beginning and say thank you for inviting us to be able to talk about what's going on with the Vision Resource Center. And as you heard from IEPI this morning, we are really invested in making sure that we're aligning our work, meaning all the ways that the platform is made available to you, all the ways that we improve functionality, all the ways that we interact with you and your end users, to align professional development so it starts to make sense, right, across the whole system. So we're working, and have been working very closely with IEPI and therefore the rest of the Chancellor's office, as well, individual divisions. But we really want to make sure we stay close with what you guys want to do, with what you're planning. We want to hear feedback from you about content development and platform improvements. We really hope to be co-presenting at the fall CSD conference. And we really hope to be able to collaborate on, cross-promoting the things that you guys think are important that are happening across the system. So if you were talking about it as PD coordinators, we want to amplify your voice to the whole system. So we look at our partnership with you as really important. And oh my God, I talked too long. Okay, so if you have any questions, concerns, suggestions, please email us at that email address, Vision Resource Center at Foundation. You can also email Carrie and I directly, it's fine. But certainly we'd love to take any comments, suggestions, questions now if you have them.
All right, any questions for Beth? All right, Beth, I think you covered it. I just want to say Jan Sharp and I were involved with the PLN way back like 7 years ago, but a hearty thanks goes to Shannon Krajewski. She's the one that relaunched it. She did so much legwork. Shannon, thank you so much. We really appreciate everything you've done to relaunch that community. It is a robust community. And please know that we appreciate all of your efforts, Shannon.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm happy to show really quickly just what this community is. We don't have time for a whole demo, but I'll drop the link to the tutorial. But I know not everyone in here is in this new community because we only have 53 people in the community and there's 66 people on this call. So I feel like I'm like a commercial. If you haven't joined, join now. To find it, you're just going to go under communities and all communities and search for the CCC professional development practitioners. You may have to go to the second page to do it and then just click join. Again, I'll drop the tutorial in there, but I already put in a few things. There's been some things dropped in based on the things we've talked about today, including the comment about folks who might be interested in working on the EEO professional development things. The topic's already started in there. So this is where all these great ideas and things and conversations happen outside of our conferences. And if you've been around 4CSD even for 5 minutes, you know that we love to share and talk and connect. And this is where it's going to live and our community is going to live on between the times we're together. So join the community.